Hey yo, it's the King Fight News, and we are back in the building. What's poppin'? What is poppin', guys? Now I wanted to cook on something real quick, man. I wanted to cook on something real quick out here. Yeah. What's good, family? All right. So in the aftermath of Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz, nice little bum fight for him. Anthony Joshua has got a big decision to make. Seemingly, it's pretty much official that he's going to be fighting Andy Ruiz in a rematch unless there is unless there's some step aside situation that could potentially happen. You know, who knows if Anthony Joshua really wants to take the rematch? It seems like Eddie Hearn is the one initiating that whole situation because he needs those titles back badly, right? Eddie Hearn just lost he lost all his goddamn belts in one night. Basically, he lost all the heavyweight titles. And what's going to end up happening is his hold his hold in the heavyweight division is going to dissipate if Anthony Joshua doesn't, make a statement and get his revenge. That's what's going to happen. But to me, let's talk about Anthony Joshua's biggest mistake. And it happened in 2018. It happened in 2018, right? The way Anthony Joshua was managed in 2018, to me, was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. Because guess what, guys? Look at all the great heavyweights out there. And even previously, right? The last guy that held the majority of the belts was Vladimir Klitschko, right? Was Vladimir Klitschko. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Y'all gotta hold on a second. Sorry about that. Coco! Coco! The last guy that held all the belts was Vladimir Klitschko. Bing. Look at his team around him. He had Sauerland Promotions. And he had Shelly Finkel. And he had his brother as an advisor, probably. That's Vladimir Klitschko's team. Look at Deontay Wilder's team. Take a look at Deontay Wilder's team for a second. He has Shelly Finkel. He has fucking Al Heyman on his back. He's got fucking Jay Diaz, who, whatever, longtime trainer, right? He's got ex-world championship fighter Mark Breland on his team, right? That's just to name a few, right? Who does Anthony Joshua have on his team looking out for him? His best interest. How many people does Anthony Joshua have on his team looking out for his best interest for real? Who does he have? Rob McCracken's? That's really Eddie Hearn's buddy. And Eddie Hearn. He's got Eddie Hearn, Rob McCracken. Oh, let's not forget Barry Hearn. Let's not, like, even Dillian White. Dillian White has his brother, at least. He's got Dean White. And he's self-managed. And you know what? He seems to be a bit of a smarter guy. Maybe he's even a bit sharper than Anthony Joshua. Because as far as I'm concerned, Anthony Joshua just lets Eddie Hearn run the shit. Anthony Joshua has a real problem because he doesn't have a manager. He doesn't have a Shelly Finkel, going back and forth with Eddie Hearn on what AJ should be getting. How exactly does Anthony Joshua negotiate his deals? You know, does he have that guy that is gonna make sure he's getting the best deal for himself? And I really believe if Anthony Joshua had a legit manager that was looking out for him, I think things would have been a lot better. I mean, obviously in hindsight, it was a huge mistake taking on Andy Ruiz in short notice. A lot of us maybe didn't missed the threat level that a guy like Andy Ruiz was going to pose for an Anthony Joshua. But if you really look at what happened, hey, shout out to Rashid UK. Man, I'm just talking about what AJ did all the way. What AJ fucked up. Because he fucked up heavy. He let basically Eddie Hearn manage his whole career. And that's his promoter. He let his promoter manage his whole goddamn career. And he got some good fights in. But he failed to develop himself as a fighter. Right? If you have a good manager, maybe he's looking out for the development of a fighter. Maybe he's saying, hey, AJ, maybe you got to add a different trainer to the game. Look at what Shelly Finkel did. Shelly Finkel told Deontay Wilder to put some weight on. And look at Deontay Wilder's next performance. Y'all saw Wilder's next performance. He looked explosive. He looked energetic. Night and day in terms of the performance he had in the Tyson Fury fight. He looked a lot fuller and a lot healthier. And, Anthony Joshua, he's got these big, bulky muscles, and he's been putting off weight. Right? He was looking a bit better. That's the one thing he was doing right in 2018. He was putting off the weight. And then what happened? He bought right back up to 250, 245, 250. Look what happened, man. Dude was slow and sluggish. Couldn't get off his punches, couldn't pull the trigger. He was looking all funny under the bright lights. Looking at his trainer and shit every 5 minutes. Man, I don't know what happened to the kid, man. I really don't know what happened to AJ. But I feel like Eddie Hearn fucked him over, because guess what happened now? This Wilder AJ fight is dead. This shit is dead. Y'all might have some last hope and shit. I lost hope on this shit a long time ago, and now it's as dead as fucking. I don't want to make any disrespectful jokes. So the fight is fucking dead, man. It's dead. Right? How is AJ gonna get back into a position to fight Deontay Wilder? There's only one way, and that's if Wilder takes a loss. Because that way they kind of even out, and then they could just have a fucking a fight where nothing's really on the line. Yeah, you know what? Frank Bruno. I've heard of this cat, but I never actually saw a whole lot of his fights. But I know he was just like this big bulky UK dude that was the only world level guy of his time. Until Lennox Lewis came around. So, I mean, hey, maybe he will end up like Frank Bruno. I don't know. I really don't know. But from what I've seen, it's a pretty big mistake going into this Andy Ruiz rematch if it's not in the UK. Right? I'm sure if I'm Eddie Hearn and I need to make that rematch happen, I got to tell AJ it's happening in the UK. It's happening in the UK. Look what happened in the US. You were all flustered. You got all nervous. You got to bring it back home. I would try my best to convince Anthony Joshua, because he just wasn't the same guy in the ring on that night. I mean, there's no excuses for him. There's absolutely no excuses for the way he showed up that night. And a guy like Andy Ruiz, once upon a time, AJ was able to deal with pressure a lot better, and he just got fucked up. Like point blank and period, he just got fucked up, and it's not going to work out for him in a rematch in the US, man. it's just not going to work out for him. It just isn't. Eddie Hearn, Eddie Hearn been fucking up Joshua's career ever since he signed with DAZN, man. Doing the Alexander Povetkin fight was the dumbest shit in the world. That was the dumbest shit in the world after the UK decided to ban that whole ticket sale rule. He said, fuck it, we're going to do a fight in Wembley. We'll see how it does. And yeah, he got another paycheck, but it didn't do jack shit for DAZN. So far as I know, the location is undetermined. The rematch will likely happen, but we don't know where it's going to be. Right? That's the one thing that seems to be up to either Andy Ruiz or Anthony Joshua to figure out, or Al Heyman and Eddie Hearn to figure out. I mean, but what is clear is AJ will go ahead with the rematch. At least that's what's been reported. You know? That's what's been reported from Eddie Hearn. And you got to take that with a pound of salt. You just got to take it with a pound of salt. When it comes to how AJ was handled in 2018, he had the Wilder fight on the table in September. He had that fight on the table. It could have happened in Wembley, and it would have been lit. It would have been insane. Wilder's value was not as high as it is right now, and he could have got him at a steal deal. He could have got Deontay Wilder in there at a flat fee. But what'd they do? They decided to fight Povetkin, man. They decided to fight Povetkin because Wilder wanted a rematch clause in there, and AJ didn't want to give it to him. And in fact, that's what I'm saying. They let Eddie Hearn mismanage. They let Eddie Hearn mismanage this whole situation. That's what they did. They let Eddie Hearn mismanage this whole situation. Because think about it. Eddie Hearn really wanted to do the fight in April, but he didn't come out and say he wanted to do the fight in April. Oh, buddy. Cali Enigma in the building. Shout out to my brother Cali Enigma. Mad salute to Cali Enigma in the building. And you know what? What Eddie Hearn really fucked up? This is how he fucked up. He had Deontay Wilder. He had him asking him online. He would tell anybody that would listen that he wants AJ next. And what the fuck did Eddie Hearn do? He said, the Deontay Wilder fight. It's gonna take 2 months to prepare, and there's not enough time. I can't book Wembley. That's what Eddie Hearn did. This is what Eddie Hearn did, and it's so fucked up because what did AJ get out of it? He missed out on $100 million fight. He missed out on record-breaking numbers in the UK, and they could have done, they could have either done Showtime pay-per-view or something. They could have done some kind of US feed and got a whole ton of money off that shit, man. Even if it wasn't Wembley, there would have been a whole lot of Americans willing to pay. There would have been a whole lot of them willing to pay to see that fight. Hey, there's Playmaker saying, what is Playmaker saying out here, man? What are you saying? You said Hearn is half to blame for fail. You know what? This is how I see the fight. Hearn fucked up in 2018, and then the heavyweights decided they really decided that they didn't want to deal with this dude, mostly because of Eddie Hearn. This dude really don't want to, go the extra mile to make a fight. In reality, Anthony Joshua should have been fighting Luis Ortiz, but Eddie Hearn's too goddamn cheap to put down the bread. If Eddie Hearn put down 10 mil for Luis Ortiz, which he should be able to have by now, considering what Anthony Joshua's been making, the numbers Anthony Joshua's been putting up in the UK, all them tickets he be selling out here, you think Eddie Hearn would be able to give Luis Ortiz, at least a third of what Anthony Joshua was guaranteed to make, $30 million? So you couldn't give Luis Ortiz fucking 30% of that shit? 33%? But you could give Joseph Parker 33%? I mean, this is facts, guys. This is facts. Anthony Joshua should have been fighting Luis Ortiz instead of Andy Ruiz. But guess what? Eddie Hearn will rather lowball Anthony Joshua's opponent. He'd rather pocket a nice little couple mil for himself, right? And look what happened. Look how that ended up. Look how that ended up for Anthony Joshua. He done fucked up, and he ran into the wrong one. He ran into a guy that would take the heat and keep on coming. Man, the worst matchup for AJ is a tough Mexican dog, and that's what Andy Ruiz was. That's what Andy Ruiz was. And man, it's real. It's just such a shame because the Wilder fight's dead to me. It's fucking dead. The mystique behind the Wilder fight, 2 undefeated heavyweights, 4 undisputed. The mystique is gone. It's just gone. There's no juice behind it anymore. I mean, what is really there? What is really there for Anthony Joshua now? He's got to rebuild. He's got to rebuild, and Deontay Wilder has got the undisputed fight right in his backyard. He's got it right on his side of the street. You know, Bob Arum's got to be killing himself right now, but that's just the way it is. These are the dynamics of boxing, and that's why you do not act like an idiot like Barry Hearn talking about 2020 for this fight. Now there is no fight. Now you just flushed down 100 mil down the fucking toilet is what you did. That's really what you did. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame. AJ could have been like, you know, if AJ just had a competitive fight, you know, even if he would have got knocked out by Deontay Wilder, if he just had a back and forth competitive fight, like the Klitschko fight. Let's say it was like the Klitschko fight. It's back and forth. AJ gets knocked out. They would have done a rematch and made a shit ton of money, man. And it would have been huge. And both these guys would have been rock stars, man. I'm telling you. It would have been, you know, who knows what could have happened. But that's why they fight the fights. That's why you don't duck and dodge. That's why you don't cherry pick. Because you end up making less money and you don't get credit for it. Look at Tyson Fury. Look at maybe he got a nice little payday off of it, but he wouldn't have made as much as he would have made if he fought Deontay Wilder. So he's making less money and he's getting less credit. Right? If he went back and forth with Wilder, imagine what would have happened. People will give him all kinds of credit for taking the Wilder rematch. He would be going against the advice of his closest friends and family. Tyson Fury, probably bring Freddie Roach back. It would have been a great promotion once again. And look at him now. I mean, what the fuck was that last night? Tom Schwartz was like some guy they pulled out of fucking Rocky or some shit, man. This you know, one of the bums that Rocky had to beat up after he won the title for the first time. That's who Tom Schwartz was. That's who fucking Tom Schwartz was. It was that fucking guy. Man, you know who reminds me of Tom Schwartz? Fucking, oh man, this one German guy look exactly like Tom Schwartz, man. I don't know who it is, man. Fucking Tom Schwartz, man. This dude's gonna be forgotten forever now, man. He's gonna be like a Sefer Sefer. He's gonna be forgotten forever now, man. He's gonna go back to Germany and shit. He's happy he made $1 million. Fuck, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. But AJ fucked up. He needs to get with a legit boxing manager, an insider that knows the ins and outs of the U.S. market. That's the other thing AJ fucked up on. Is he's letting Eddie Hearn doing all the negotiations. Meanwhile, he's never done a big fight in the U.S. He's letting Eddie Hearn run all the negotiations for a major U.S. fight that's supposed to be against Deontay Wilder in 2018, and Eddie Hearn doesn't know a lick about promoting in the U.S. Doesn't know a fucking lick. but he didn't want to sell out. But AJ didn't want to sell out on that night. Okay. Okay. I mean, shit, man. I don't know what to tell you. But this fight is fucking dead, man. Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, that fight is fucking dead, man. And it is. I mean, look at what happened when you want to talk about Mayweather Pacquiao? Pacquiao had to go back and beat up on Tim Bradley, and he had to go back and he lost to Marquez, right? Everybody gave him a pass for losing to Marquez. He beat up on Tim Bradley. He beat up on Chris Algieri, knocked him down 6 times, and that was a performance to get him back into into the idea of making the Mayweather fight. And at that point, Mayweather just wanted to get it over with because people just wouldn't stop talking about it. But I think AJ is not, he's not the same, man. It's just not the same situation. These guys aren't proven pay-per-view draws. Wilder is still yet to be a proven pay-per-view draw. He had a great first outing against Tyson Fury. That's a great first outing. But we don't know what he's going to do if he fights Luis Ortiz in a rematch. We don't know what he's going to do. Those numbers can easily drop depending on fan interest. What was Playmaker saying? Hold on a second, man. Shout out to Playmaker. What's he saying? U.S. fighters are just tougher breed. AJ wants redemption. He's got no choice but to stay in the U.S. Yeah, and he's going to get his ass knocked out again. That's what's going to happen. That's just what's going to happen. He's going to get his ass knocked out again. I mean, that's why Eddie Hearn be trying to stress, AJ, you got to take it in the UK. You got to take that fight in the UK. And shit, you know, will it go down like that? It might. It might go down like that, but if I'm Eddie Hearn, I would break the bank to get that fight in the UK. Because that's the only chance that AJ has to win this fight. Because they're going to get that referee. What they're going to do is going to get that referee from the Joseph Parker fight. They're going to bring him back and shit. And then AJ's going to have a chance. That's what they're going to do, man. No, I'm just clowning. Now I'm just clowning. Oh, God damn it, man. What's good, family? Anyways, yeah, those are just my thoughts on the Joshua situation, man. I really think this guy should have caught himself a good, you know, cutthroat manager like a Shelly Finkel, you know, like an Al Heyman. He needs somebody on his team that knows the ins and outs if he plans on sticking around the U.S. market. And DAZN be fucking up. DAZN be fucking up. I mean, look at what happened with their numbers. No fighting and boxing referee. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Andy Ruiz knows he wants to have that fight in the U.S. If AJ's going to step up and make it happen, then he needs to be... He needs to get rid... You know what? Instead of getting rid of your trainer, bring in another trainer. Bring in a guy like a fucking... Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, or a fucking, just a real good hired gun, you know, like Kovalev's trainer, John David Jackson. Bring in somebody that can really just make a slight improvement to AJ's game, because you can tell he wants to fight off the back foot, but Rob McCracken's not the guy to make it happen for him. He's just not the guy, you know. He needs someone that's going to really take his game to the next level. Look at what Triple G did. Triple G figured it out. He was like, oh man, I was getting hit too much against Canelo. Abel Sanchez. Abel Sanchez. You know, you're going to have to take a pay cut, buddy. You know, Triple G figured it out. Yeah, man. I mean, Steve, the thing is, I know for a fact that Dominic Brazil could easily destroy. He could easily destroy Tom Schwartz. But the thing is, I mean, fuck, this is what Tyson Fury been doing this for a long time. Like, I can't even act like this is all big surprise, because we knew what this was. We knew this was a bum-ass fight. We knew nobody knows who Tom Schwartz is. I never heard nobody talk about Tom Schwartz. ever, ever in the history of fucking boxing. Ain't nobody ever talk about Tom Schwartz until he was signed to fight Tyson Fury. And those are just, man, like, it's crazy. And what's Tyson Fury gonna do? He, if he doesn't end up fighting somebody, this dude gonna lose all credibility, man. Dude gonna lose all credibility, and he got a ton of it after he came out of the Deontay Wilder fight with the draw. People were calling him, and people are still trying to call him the best heavyweight right now. Are you kidding me? You're only as good as your last fight. So right now he looks okay. But honestly, man, Tyson Fury is lucky to be ranked number 2. He's lucky to be in that position. And it's all based off a Deontay Wilder draw that, you know, it really, you know, fuck, man. If Jeffrey knew how to, if Jack Reese knew how to count to 10, maybe we would have had a whole different outcome. But it is what it is. That is what it is. I mean, Tyson Fury, he played it smart. He played it smart. He got a nice little paycheck in there for him. And he said, why am I going to fight Deontay Wilder when Bob Arum wants to pay me all this money to fight bums? So he decided to fight fucking bums. That's just what happened. And that is just what happened, guys. So, man, you know, I pretty much said my piece. I feel like Anthony Joshua would benefit himself a whole lot if he were to bring in a new element to his team. And shit, if he just decided to take 50 million to this day, by the way, to this day, Anthony Joshua has not made 50 million or plus in a fight. It hasn't happened for him. Maybe if you add up all his endorsements and the 30 million, maybe he just gets 40 or some shit, right? But that's AJ's career. I mean, honestly, if you're Anthony Joshua, take some time off, bro. Take some time off, man. Put off the weight. And Tyson Fury actually gave him good advice. He said, you know what, if you're AJ, you know, go back to the fundamentals. Go back, learn how to box. You know, it's unfortunate there isn't an Emmanuel Stewart out in boxing right now that was like the guy for a heavyweight big man. You know, Emmanuel Stewart was that guy that you can go to and that can make those fine-tuning adjustments to uplift your game. He was that guy. But he's not. Rest in peace, Emmanuel Stewart, man. This dude's the greatest trainer of all time. And y'all don't know how great Emmanuel was, man. Y'all really don't know. This dude is the greatest trainer of all time. And he was able to see who the best was. He knew Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder were really the two outstanding guys. A shot to Jaguar Paws. And salute to Master Son 22. Wilder faces Joshua. Don't be surprised if Hearn demands Bird as a referee. Oh. Hey, man. I don't know, man. That was such a bad performance. If I'm Robert Bird, yo, you gotta hang up that shirt, man. You gotta hang up that referee shirt. Yo, man, that dude lost total control of that fight. Take time off. Yeah, man. If I'm Jaguar Paws saying AJ should take time off. Absolutely, take time off. You know, get your head right. Get your take off some weight. You know, work on speed. Work on counter shots. Work on how you're gonna beat Andy Ruiz. You ain't gonna beat him if going into another training camp 6 months down the road. That shit, it's so unlikely that you're gonna take a man out that has full confidence because he beat you on short notice. So he's gonna have even more confidence going into the rematch. But I feel like the main mistake AJ made was not making that Luis Ortiz fight happen, because even though it would have been a tough fight, I don't see Luis Ortiz putting on the kind of pressure that Andy Ruiz put on Anthony Joshua. It would have been a different kind of fight. It would have been a fight where Luis Ortiz would be counterpunching and Joshua could take the lead. And that's what makes it so intriguing for a guy like Anthony Joshua. He's got an older guy in front of him. Andy Ruiz was in his prime. Luis Ortiz would have been a tough fight, but it would have been something that AJ maybe could have overcame. Maybe he could have taken Luis Ortiz to the brink, and it would have been like the Wilder fight, that first Wilder fight where it was back and forth. I mean, it's still a pretty good style matchup for Luis Ortiz. But Luis Ortiz was also coming off of 2 performances that were not great, and you would have caught Luis Ortiz on short notice as well. So, I think that dynamic, AJ should have taken advantage of that shit, man. AJ should have taken advantage of that shit, and he really fucked up. He really fucked up by not allowing, by allowing Eddie Hearn to dictate those negotiations and not being as involved as he should have been in some of his fights. That's true. Ortiz has not, in my opinion, he hasn't been the same since that knockout from Deontay Wilder. He just hasn't been the same. His performances have not been as explosive. You know, he was knocking out guys left and right before the Deontay Wilder fight. Look at him now. Look at him now, man. We haven't seen Luis. He's on a long layoff. Luis Ortiz. Man, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, they're coming back. The dog's fucking running all over the place, man. They're coming right back, though. Hey. Yeah. Anyways, I put in my half hour, guys, man. I'm gonna bounce up out of here. Man, salute to everybody that showed up, man. Much appreciation. Shout out to Cali Enigma dropping the super chat. Hey, if y'all want to support the channel, the PayPal link, I'm gonna put that shit in the description real quick. But for now, I'm gonna bounce up out of here, man. Peace.